Just when you think you've got Mexican life all figured out, then comes this.
Are your bank cards being held by Mexican customs?
We're gonna tell you why coming up next.
Hola, gringas y gringos, and welcome to
Gringos Are Us.
Desde 2022.
I'm Mark.
I'm Gina.
This week we're gonna tell you what happened to us and has suddenly become the rage of social media for people living here in Mexico.
So we'll preface this with the story about how we had credit cards that were coming to us in May. Our mail forwarding service sent them. They came in through DHL. They arrived maybe 2 weeks later.
Right here in the pocket.
Well, we had a couple more cards, a bank card, debit card, and another credit card that were coming in June, approximately 3 weeks after the first set. And they were not being released by customs.
They're not in the pocket.
Mexico has anti-money laundering laws that went into effect this year. They may have been in effect previous years, but weren't really being enforced. This year, I think the government came down harder on some of the companies. And while I have seen on social media, because Mark doesn't get on there,
No.
what I have seen is that it hasn't been consistently affecting people in various states, depends on where you live, various companies, it just depends on who is the courier. What is happening is the couriers are feeling pressure from the Mexican government to adhere to this law. They're being fined, and the fine amounts are increasing, therefore.
I know this isn't a shock, but it is not being consistently applied all across Mexico. This supposedly went into effect at the beginning of the year. May, we had no problem. June, ooh. So just because it hasn't happened to you, it could. So
It could, and more than likely, it will eventually. At the time of this video being recorded, the people who are the strictest so far that I've consistently read has been DHL. DHL was the company that was the courier in our
Yes.
case, in both May and June. Some people recommending going with FedEx, but again, I do know that they are increasing fines and becoming stricter with these companies. So FedEx may be in the same boat shortly after this. So
I imagine one set of fines is going to be enough for them to go,
yeah.
no, we're not doing this.
So what exactly is the issue? The issue is smart cards. So basically any card that has an electronic chip in it. It could be a gift card, a debit card, a credit card.
Which is just about all the cards nowadays.
Yeah, I suppose they assume that it's entirely possible the cartel are receiving money this way, therefore they're cracking down on it. It doesn't matter if you can prove that you own an account and have had this account for years. It doesn't matter if you can provide documentation that it is your account. None of that matters. It's got a smart chip. That's all that matters.
It's almost like importing electronics, and then suddenly the cost of doing it becomes prohibitive.
So what I want to share with you is basically an email correspondence that I had with the person at DHL at the aduana. And I was very sure to ask this person to show me or explain to me what law this was applying to, because I had, again, we had no problems in May, and then we had a problem. And this was taking everybody by surprise around us. We have got Mexican friends, realtors, they're in business, they'd never heard of such a thing. They thought it was ridiculous. because what was being asked of me was to provide an importer's license.
Ooh, not pretty.
No. So I'm going to read to you and show you the correspondence that I had with this agent at DHL. Due to the type of material you are importing, bank cards, your shipment requires release under Customs Declaration A1. Therefore, the following options are available. Brokerage. Carry out the import process for your material into the country through a trading company. You would need to find one that can assist you with this procedure. Registration of license. You must be registered as an importer. Registration involves sending a series of documents to the legal department of the DHL customs broker for acceptance of the order. Once all documents are correct, the order is accepted. After this, SAT takes 12 to 48 hours, approximately. In some cases, it may take longer, to validate the customs declaration. Please note that any additional days that elapse if you choose this method will incur storage costs. If you choose this option, you will also need to submit a letter, Article 54, declaring the use, function, and composition of all the products in your package. This letter must also be signed by the consignee to ensure the correct tariff classification. After receiving the letter, we will verify the declared information and contact you with any further instructions if additional documents are required. Note, for both options 1 or 2, please be aware that import fees are not included in your shipment document, or shipping document, These fees range from approximately 6,000 to 10,000 pesos and may be higher. You will also be responsible for any additional labeling, permits, or other requirements your merchandise may need. Note 2, for options 1 or 2 require proof of value, a purchase order confirmation, invoice, and proof of payment for the merchandise, as well as a series of documents requested by the legal department, responses to the vulnerable operation certificates, and the anti-money laundering certificate for each operation. Option 3, return. Please confirm this option so we can send you information about it. Option 4, and the final option, abandonment of your package at customs.
So as you can see, it's not going to be easy to try and get things shipped with a Smart Ship card through customs. That's just what it's starting to boil down to.
Exactly. And she did provide further information, classifications that they have, which I'm going to put up on a screen for you. In addition to that, she provided details about the exact law that this is being required for. I have the Spanish version and the English translation on the screen for you. Vulnerable activity. The importation of this merchandise may be considered a vulnerable operation in accordance with Article 17, Section 14 of the Federal Law for the Prevention and Identification of Operations with Illicitly Obtained Resources. Verify the application of the OV identifier. This law could be older, but perhaps it is now more strict.
Well, I mean, Mexico suddenly deciding we're going to now do something about a law that's been on the books. Say it ain't so. I mean,
I know.
But, and our thought process was that at Querétaro, they may have had management changed at Aduana. They may have had an inspection by someone who came in to look at all of these things. And somehow it was relayed to them that this is an important thing that needs to be addressed now. What happened 6 weeks ago? Not so much. But now, going forward, this is going to be the new law of the land for the aduana out there at the Querétaro airport. So,
What can you do? You're not going to be able to have your cards shipped into this country, but you can have them brought in on a person, physically brought in, muled in.
Yeah, I mean, they had no clue if you were to go back to the U.S., swap out your old card, put in a new card goes in your wallet, and when you come back, you go through and everything is all hunky-dory. That's not going to be an issue. The issue is going to be you can't ship. So, we were sort of faced with a ticking clock because we wanted to make sure we got the cards activated. So we had to get a little imaginative on how to figure out how we could do this and then leave the cards because we didn't need them right away. So it was one of those where we're like, okay, how are we going to make sure that these cards get activated and are there for a couple of months until our next trip back?
I'm glad you asked.
See?
So there's a couple things you can do. You can have somebody walk them across the border and deliver them to you in person. That's option number one. Option number two is you can have them in a digital wallet. Even if you have them in a digital wallet, though, there is a chance that you may still have to activate the physical cards. Digital wallets often get activated with a token from the credit card company. The token may remain even if your cards are renewed, which most of the time when we're getting these cards, it's a renewed card.
Yes.
So the token may stay active, but there's a chance they also may deactivate that token in lieu of a new token. That can happen too. If they deactivate the token in your digital wallet, then your card won't work there anymore either. So there's a whole lot of ambiguity about the final process that's going to work best, but this is what we did.
I mean, one of the things is it's also going to have a lot of dependency upon what your particular financial institution, what they're, some of them may go, if you don't activate this card within 30 days, we're going to assume that the card was lost. Boom.
That was the biggest concern.
So then what do you do?
We have actually received email from one card holder that would remind us, you haven't activated your card yet. You haven't activated your card yet. In this case, these two cards that sat at the aduana for almost 3 weeks, I told them to return them to our mail forwarding service. Then I turned around after the mail forwarding service received them and had them forwarded to our daughter. So these cards were out there for almost a month by the time they finally got activated. In this case, we asked our daughter to activate them for us. I made sure they were in my Google wallet, so we do have them. She's holding on to the cards until we see her next time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way of doing it. Isn't helpful for the debit card because the debit card, the only time we really use it is when we're at the ATM. Fortunately, one of our debit cards did come through. So.
And you're interested in this too, aren't you?
Max is interested in everything.
Okay, so what about if you don't have someone in the U.S. to take care of this and activate your cards for you? The ideal situation would be to find a mail forwarding service that also offers courier services, personal courier services over the border. There are some, for example, in Texas. In fact, there is one mail forwarding service that runs out of an RV park, and you have to be a member and take advantage of their mail forwarding services. And then if you need them to hand deliver a package to you, that incurs an extra fee.
Yes, it's nothing more than them taking it across the border for you and delivering to somebody. Now, I think they also offer the ability to go and if you're not at the border, deliver to an agent who can put it into a FedEx, DHL, whatever type of service, and ship it to your present location in Mexico.
Right. The key here is that they're walking it across the border, or they're driving it across the border. It's not being shipped. So it doesn't have to go through an aduana, for example. And I suppose another alternative is if you have a network of friends who frequently go back to the United States or to Canada or something like that, you can have a small group of your friends and schedule out who's going back when and organize a delivery.
Yeah, or just arrange it so everybody knows when the next trip coming up is going to be Jim and Sue, and they're going to be in the U.S. on these particular dates. Here's their address. Send it to that particular address, and then when they get there, they can just put it in their suitcase, bring it down with them.
Yes.
And if they don't happen to be in the same town as you are, not a problem. They can go to FedEx or DHL, drop it in an envelope, and away it goes.
Once they're in Mexico.
Once they're in Mexico.
Yeah, because you can send things through a courier service in Mexico if it's originating in Mexico. That's not the problem. The problem is the international shipment.
Correct.
And you know, in our case, it's coming from the United States. There are a lot of foreigners living in Mexico that live in other countries, like, for example, Canada, or maybe from the UK or whatnot. So getting your bank cards, this is a problem. But the bigger problem that they're trying to curtail is the cartel money laundering.
Yeah.
And foreigners getting bank cards are probably such a small number compared to that bigger picture. So we're kind of caught.
That we are. And it's one of those that we wanted to share this information with you guys. One of our subscribers had the great idea of renewing their cards all at the same time so they could coordinate one trip every 3-4 years when the cards all came out, and basically calling them saying, I lost my card, I need you to ship me a replacement, boom, boom, boom. And then one trip, all new cards,
Yeah.
you come home with them.
Right.
So,
I mean, I thought that was brilliant.
yes, that was a brilliant idea.
You can't curtail this. You can't get around it by asking your card companies to ship it to you either.
No.
It won't matter. It's the fact that it is a smart card coming from outside the country into Mexico. So there's nothing you can do about that now. You're stuck in this loop. You're going to have to get creative and find other ways to work around it.
Unless you happen to be in one of these locations, if they're not taking it seriously now, count your blessings and knock on wood and go, I hope that continues. And we hope it does for you as well. But if you find yourself suddenly going, oh, why can't I get my charge card?
Customs will not let me have my credit cards.
Now you know what's going on.
Exactly. So this is going to be popping up more and more. I'm seeing new posts in Facebook groups at least every week. There's somebody asking the exact same question. How do I get my cards out of customs? You're not.
Yeah, not even driving down there is not going to change a thing.
No. Unless you want to go get that importer's license. And that importer's license takes about 6 months to get. So, and then of course you got to do the paperwork and everything's in Spanish, so just be aware of that. The best thing you can do is have somebody back home activate those cards for you. Maybe put them in a Google Wallet. Sorry about the noise. Maxwell is having fun. Or you can just have somebody bring it into the country for you by land.
By land, by boat, by plane, doesn't matter as long as they bring it, physically,
that's true.
Physically on them.
It has to be on them. It's not that you can't fly in with them. Yes,
Correct.
You can. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out.
I mean,
it just has to be on a person in their personal effects, bringing it in.
Because that's what we're going to do when we go back in October. We'll get the cards from our youngest daughter. There goes the old one if it's not already pitched because it's out of date. New one goes in the wallet. We're going to walk right across just like we did when we walked out, and got on the plane.
Right.
So,
there's a lot to be said. A lot of people say that your digital wallet is actually safer than an actual credit card. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But to use it, you got to tap to pay, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't use digital cards that often. I guess I'm going to start. But what if you're at a vendor who doesn't have tap to pay? I don't know.
And what do you do at an ATM?
And
I mean, it's,
the only thing I could think of at an ATM is you go to a grocery store, you buy some groceries, use your debit card to pay for it, and ask for cash back. That's the only thing I could think of.
it's possibly.
I haven't ever tried it. Fortunately, as Mark said, his debit card got tied up in this mess, but my debit card was one of the ones to have come through 3 weeks earlier. So now he's got my debit card in his wallet to get cash out.
Same money, different pocket. I mean, so
It is, but imagine if neither of us had gotten our debit cards. Then we wouldn't be able to get cash out unless we maybe tried that cash back at the register thing.
Yeah, well, no, because then you got to have a debit card to do that on. You can't do that on a credit card. So
No,
yeah.
but it is a debit card in a digital wallet.
Oh, in the digital wallet.
Right, I
yeah,
just don't know.
yeah.
I haven't tried to do it like that.
One of us would be making a flight to the U.S. going, give me the cards and bring it back. So,
So this is a timely topic. It's been a while since we put a video out because we've been really busy with that boy over there. And so this needed to come out. This is happening more and more frequently, and we just want you to understand why and what your recourse is.
Yep. And that's pretty much all of it in a nutshell.
We hope you enjoyed this video and you found it informative. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. We surely do appreciate it. We are Gringos Are Us.
Des Day 2022.
Remember, we're doing it. You can too.
What?
Videos that you might want to watch.
Max, bring those back.
Hasta la próxima.
Adios. What are you doing?